Last week, Nevada State Senator Kelvin Atkinson stood in front of his colleagues while a heated debate on marriage equality took place on the floor. When it was his turn to speak, he said this.
I'm 44 years old. I have a daughter. I'm black. I'm gay. I have dealt with a lot of what folks are talking about. And I know some of you are first time hearing me say that I am a black gay male. But being that, I have had the opportunity, and just recently, to hear people who didn't know that say stuff. I've heard them say something about this bill. I've heard them say stuff about folks that I love and care deeply for. I look at my campaign team. I look at how I get here and how I got here. Very dedicated folks. But they're people that's connected to me. And I've heard some people say some nasty, ugly things because they didn't know that.
Joining us to discuss his very public coming out and his politics is Senator Kelvin Atkinson. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good to see you. You said you didn't expect to come out that day. It just felt like the right time. What was the mood in the room after you told everybody you were gay?
The mood, gosh, it was late at night, so we were tired. It was surreal. About 10 of my colleagues came up to me and hugged me and said, "Congratulations." So it was a good feeling.
Yeah. Kelvin, you out to everybody else in your life? I mean, were there people who watched this clip and were like, "Oh, I didn't know"?
I think so. I mean, from the response I got from people and people that aren't really close with me, but have been around me through my career, some of them were surprised.
Yeah, and Jason Collins, of course, another big name this week. But for him, it seemed to be a bit more of a struggle. Did you ever feel like you were hiding something when you weren't just saying outrightly that you were gay?
I think before I came out, it was a huge struggle. I thought I had every intention on getting married to my daughter's mom when she was first conceived. So it was a huge struggle after that. But after that, I was comfortable with who I was.
When did you realize it?
Oh, I've always known. I think I tried to live the life that everyone else wanted me to live.
What was her and your daughter's response after you made the revelation?
Well, my daughter was only about 9 months, and I told my daughter's mom because I didn't want to get married and still have these issues. She looked me in my face and said, "Your daughter will be one soon. She'll grow, and at some point you'll have to explain that to her, and that'll be between you and her." And that was it.
And what was the response after you made the announcement this past weekend, or the other day?
Yeah. The response from who?
When you made the public announcement, it became a public revelation. Were they prepared for you making this public revelation?
I didn't tell anybody.
Okay, it just happened. So
it really just happened.
I know if you got some phone calls afterward, like, "Why'd you do that?" or "Why'd you tell me first this was going to happen?" That kind of a thing.
Not at all. The next day, I didn't say anything still, and my Facebook blew up like wildfire. So my daughter follows me, so she saw it, and she called me and she just said, "Dad, I'm proud of you. I love you." That was it.
Millennials.
Yeah, that's definitely a millennial thing. All right, well, there are two parts to this conversation, and I think this tweet from Carolyn Todd really sums it up. It says, Nevada State Senator Kelvin Atkinson becomes civil rights hero in speaking 4 brave words. I'm black, I'm gay. Is that accurate? Is that fair? Or is that a little too much pressure for you?
I think that's a lot of pressure for anybody. I don't think that was my intent. Again, if it takes on a life of its own in the civil rights arena, I think it's a good thing. I'm certainly prepared to tell my story and happy to bring others along.
I want to read you some comments coming in from members of our community, Senator. This one's from Robert, who says, "Wow, Atkinson has guts. Bravo, sir." And this one from Crooklandism, who says, "Hope he thought this one out, as in backup employment plans." Senator, are you worried about how your constituents are going to respond?
Not at all. I serve one of the more diverse communities, or probably the most diverse community in the Senate. I My folks are very, very dedicated to me. I won my election 80% to 20% as my first time Senate race. So I think that's a lot of support. I've heard from a lot of them, and they're just as thrilled.
I mean, one of the major issues that prompted you to have this conversation was marriage equality. Where exactly do you stand on the issue, and how does that stand in relationship to many of your constituents, many of whom I know are black, who may have some resistance to it?
Actually, my district isn't predominantly black. My district is 40% Hispanic, about 18% black, the rest white. So it's really just that diverse. The black community will be the toughest crowd to sell. But I've talked to a lot of them as well. And while they tell me that they've always known, but I didn't need to make a public announcement. But I think they'll be there for me.
Right. Senator, one of the things you said, which I love, is that because people didn't know, they would say things in front of you, even on the Senate floor, that didn't sit well with you, given the perspective that you're coming from. And I'm curious if you've had other instances, whether it be from elected officials or just people in your life, where they have made derogatory comments about members of the LGBT community unwittingly in front of you, not knowing that you yourself are a part of that community.
Absolutely. And I think that's been one of the biggest struggles because, like I said on the floor, if you know me and know me well, I usually speak my mind. But on the issue, I've chosen not to say much. But I've heard a lot of things, a lot of negative things, a lot of hurtful things. And so that was another reason. So I think it's going to stop.
Is there anything specifically, though, from your colleagues? You don't have to name names, but things you've overheard said in the Capitol?
I mean, just mean things. Why do we need to do this for them? Why do those people think they need the same rights? Those people, as like we've heard that term before. If you're African American, so those were hurtful words.
Right. I want to read you this comment from Conspicuous, who says, "Whose head do I have to knock for individual sexuality to be irrelevant?" And we would all love to get to that point, and yet you have to stand up and say, I'm a state senator, I'm a black man, I'm a father, I'm a gay man, and all of those words come to define you, and yet I'm sure there is so much more you want people to know about you. Putting all of that aside, what do you want people to know?
Well, I'm glad you said that because I think that's why my career, and I've been in politics for 11 years now, but I think that's why I chose not to come out because I never wanted to be defined as the gay assemblyman or the gay senator. I've always wanted to be judged on my merit, judged on my performance. I'm blessed. I chair the second most powerful committee in the Senate here. And that doesn't come because I was gay. It came because my hard work in the legislature.
Absolutely, Senator. Well, I want to thank you for spending some time with us, and thank you for being such a courage and brave example for our community. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you guys. Awesome.